I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Bruce Lee. In this day and age in the lands between, mages are given the opportunity to slot up to 10 spells, 12 with the Talisman. But the frantic scrolling through of spells and the myriad of spells we can choose from does not necessarily create a strong mage, especially when panic sets in if something unexpected comes up. The Nightwielder is a pure sorcery build that focuses purely on one thing, night sorceries. More specifically, Night Shard and Night Comet. Wait, I suppose that's two things? I mean, it's one thing. You get it. Although we have two other spells equipped, which I will mention later, it is possible to play without them if you choose not to. However, just because the build focuses on two spells, it does not mean that the build is inflexible. Far from it. The Nightwielder excels at all areas of combat, including exploring, killing bosses both mobile and immobile, dealing with unexpected situations, and destroying NPC invaders. I'm pretty sure many, if not most of you, have heard about Lusat's or Carrion Regal plus Staff of Loss in your offhand with the Night Comet spell, right? It is a very efficient and powerful combination. As a bonus, because the spell is invisible, many things that would typically dodge your attacks would not. But it isn't the most efficient and powerful form it can get. Not yet. But for now, there is a bigger question to answer. Why do people never mention Night Shard? I will go one step further than show, not tell. I will prove to you with numbers just exactly how the build functions. Let's take a look at some numbers. We'll use the Lusat's staff for now for so-called maximum damage. We will see here with Lusat's in main hand and Staff of Loss in your offhand. Glintstone Pebble outperforms the Night Shard in terms of damage with the same FP cost. Yes, the Night Shard uses less stamina, but remember, Glintstone Pebble doesn't get any bonuses from the Staff of Loss. You can be using another weapon with just your Lusat's staff on your offhand to do more damage than dual wielding staffs, which is where the next step of dual wielding comes in. The Nightwielder dual wields 2 Staff of Losses. So yes, you either have to advance to NG+, which you can immediately run to Kaled for the Staff of Loss, or have a buddy drop the second Staff of Loss for you. This build will also serve as a more in-depth exploration of one of the combinations of the complete dual wield staff guide, which will be dropping soon. Let's examine the Night Shard again. When we swap to 2 Staff of Losses, the Night Shard now deals more damage and doesn't require the 50% more FP cost. It also saves more stamina. There is something to consider though, and that is defense. Having a higher base attack favors defense calculation a bit, so with the numbers so close here, Glintstone Pebble will actually be out-damaging the Night Shard by a bit. The effect is not large unless your target happens to hit specific defense breakpoints. If you happen to be in different defense brackets, you can expect something like a 8% difference in damage. Overall, the main point of the Night Shard is to save UFP while using as little stamina as possible because it is used on low health targets or for chain casting. Chain casting is something that you can learn to greatly empower this build. Because Night Comet is a spell that is chain castable, meaning subsequent Night Comets will come out faster than the first one. You can substitute the first cast with Night Shard, which has a much faster startup frame than the Night Comet. This way you essentially get to fit an entire Night Shard for free before your Night Comet. Furthermore, the other bonus of doing so is the ability to roll out of danger after casting the Night Shard. If something ends up attacking, you can roll out of the way instead of choosing to cast the Night Comet. On the other hand, if you directly cast a Night Comet, you're stuck in the cast animation for the entirety of the 44 frames. With Night Shard out of the way, let's go back to Night Comet. Let's compare Lusat's plus Staff of Loss Night Comet with the double Staff of Loss Night Comet. We see that Night Comet deals more damage while not requiring the 50% extra FP with 2 Staff of Losses. Yes, I still remember defense, but defense doesn't play as big a role when it comes to attack difference versus damage getting split into more than one source. That is to say, Defense has a larger effect on split scaling or an attack getting split into many hits, like Stars of Ruin, instead of the difference in attack of your staffs or weapons. Here, we see that the double Staff of Loss does indeed do more damage than Lusat's when testing in game. I'm using my exact build, and this is just to prove that the staffs are both fully upgraded and I'm not tricking you. As far as Night Comet is concerned, 2 Staffs of Loss gives you more damage than Lusat's without the increased FP cost. And if we compare all the similar projectile sorceries using the Regal Staff to not get an increased cost, we see that Night Shard outperforms every other spell when it comes to damage to FP ratio, including Glintstone Pebble and Swift Glintstone Shard. If we compare the damage of Night Comet, we see that it now deals more damage than any other projectile sorcery, including the fully charged Comet. To push things even further, we have our talismans. The Ritual Sword Talisman increases damage dealt, not attack as the description says, by 10% when you are at full health. Since the night spells are invisible and you snipe targets off at a distance 1 by 1, you are more suited to staying at full health than any other build. Graven Mask Talisman is self-explanatory, giving you an 8% boost to sorceries. Since this is a pure caster build, this talisman is very useful. Magic Scorpion Charm gives you 12% more magic damage at the cost of 10% less physical negation. Both night sorceries deal magic damage, so it is essentially another 12% damage boost. The Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman more than offsets the negative physical negation and makes you tankier in PvE where the majority of the attacks deal physical damage. Instead of opting for something like the Graven Skull Talisman that only gives you 4% boost to sorcery damage, I opted for a defensive option that actually helps raise your offense. Because you take less damage, it is easier for flasks to bring you back up to 100% health for the 10% damage bonus from the Ritual Sword Talisman. Taking less damage also means you're less worried about drinking pots, giving you more time to attack. As for the armor, I'm using Malekith's helm with Knight Cavalry chest, gauntlets, and greaves. I chose this combination because I think it suits the theme. You can wear anything of your choice within the weight limit. This build is so OP you can really enjoy the fashion. Other than the night sorceries, I also run Rock Sling and Terra Magica. Terra Magica is useful to further boost your burst damage and lasts quite long. It also makes spell even more FP efficient, assuming you cast more than a few within the area. Rock Sling is something you can unequip for the majority of the game. Rock Sling plus Carrion Regal Scepter in my offhand is for you to deal with units with abnormally high magic negation like Renala or some dragons. They also do better at staggering the Crystallian bosses so you can armor break them. The order of the spells is important because you want your Night Comet to come after your Night Shard in order to chain cast easily. You also want your Terra Magica to be the slot before your Night Shard, so you can easily scroll to your DPS combo chain right after casting Terra Magica. For the weapons, I dual wield Staff of Loss. I also have a magic-infused sacrificial axe with the Bloodhound Step Ash of War on my main hand and a Carrion Regal Scepter on my offhand. In case you didn't know, if something dies while you hold the sacrificial axe in hand, you regenerate 4 FP. Bloodhound Step really helps traversal in areas with Scarlet Rot puddles and such, especially since we don't have Faith for cleansing debuffs. The axe also helps as a melee option against low health targets sometimes, or to kill skeletons. You really don't need 16 strength for this if you don't plan on meleeing much. I just stopped dying, so I decided to get enough strength to be able to Bloodhound Step, Night Shard, and swing the axe to quickly pass through some weaker zones instead of more vigor. The Carrion Regal Scepter is for more efficiency when spamming Rock Sling. Since this build is predominantly a ranged build, the spinning weapon Ash of War doesn't really come into play much. As for stats, at level 150, Astrologer min-maxes this build, but Prisoner and Vagabond aren't far behind. 16 strength is for the sacrificial axe. If you choose not to use it, you can do with even less strength and some more vigor or endurance to make yourself tankier. You can also chase after 99 intelligence if you want to. 23 endurance is just enough to stay in medium roll for my build. As for 36 mind, it is a carefully chosen number that will suit a lot of your boss or exploration usage for Terra Magica and your night spells, so you'll naturally waste less FP. You don't need to follow the moves exactly on the screen. I'm just showing you the FP is at a level you'll naturally end up with fewer wasted points of FP. Furthermore, a plus 11 FP flask gives you 210 FP, so you'll easily regenerate to max FP to repeat this FP cycle again. Feel free to drink a FP flask before you run out of FP. Once you have enough flasks, this build is strong enough to be a bit wasteful in order to get a better experience, because it is efficient everywhere else. As for PvP, even though this build is mainly made for PvE, you definitely want to pump some more vigor and reduce your strength. You don't need Sacrificial Axe for PvP. I'll make a separate showcase of a modified version of this build for PvP in the future, if enough of you are interested. Even though this is a PvE build, you'd be surprised at how well it can perform even in PvP. Here is a screenshot of the entire setup and game. For the physique, you can get some good options really early on. The Magic Shrouding crack tier is a must. Because most of my boss fights aren't very long, nor do I take many hits, I like to use the Opaline Bubble tier earlier in the build when I don't have a lot of flasks. It saves you the time of needing to drink a flask, and you can pre-buff before you enter the boss area. The Cerulean Hidden tier isn't that great for this build. You really don't need that much FP, and it only lasts for 15 seconds. You'll usually only be getting a flask's worth of FP with this physique. Instead, I suggest the Green Burst Crystal tier, which gives you plus 30% stamina regeneration and lasts 3 minutes. You're really capped by your stamina in the end for spamming Night Comets. You have enough FP to throw out 8 Night Comets in a row, but that would cost you 240 stamina, which is more than double of what you have. Endurance doesn't give much stamina per level, and our Talisman slots are better used for my recommendations to push damage rather than the Green Turtle Talisman. This physique is also just very strong for our needs, so my favorite endgame combo is the Magic Shrouding crack tier plus the Green Burst Crystal tier, and they both last 3 minutes. You can easily kill any boss twice over in that time period. I'll let a bit more gameplay footage play out. The dual wield staff guide should be coming right up. All the sheets I used will be linked then. Like and subscribe. Krite, signing out.